Posthegemony. A posthegemony is a concept which designates a period or a situation in which hegemony is no longer said to function as the organizing principle of a national or post-national social order, or of the relationships between and amongst nation-states within the global order. The concept has different meanings within the fields of political theory, cultural studies and international relations. In cultural studies, in the field of cultural studies, post-hegemony has been developed as a concept by a number of critics whose work engages with and critiques the use of cultural hegemony theory. Within the writings of Ernesto Laclau and within subaltern studies, George Eudes, in 1995, was one of the first commentators to summarize the background to the emergence of this concept. The shift to post-Fordism and other changes in the mode of production correspond to a weakening of the articulation of national discourse and state apparatuses, particularly the disciplinary, educational ones. This does not mean that the state itself has been weakened. It has, rather, reconverted to accommodate new forms of organization and capital accumulation, flexible accumulation, consumer culture, and the New World Information Order are produced and distributed globally to occupy the space of the nation, but are no longer motivated by any essential connections to a state, as embodied, for example, in their national popular formation. The motivations are both infra- and supranational. We might say that, for the purview of the national proscenium, a post-hegemonic situation holds. That is, the compromise solution that culture provided for Gramsci is not now one that pertains to the national level but to the local and transnational. Instead, the culture ideology of consumerism serves to naturalize global capitalism everywhere. The concept of post-hegemony is related to the rise of the multitude as a social force which, unlike the people, cannot be captured by hegemony, together with the roles of affect and habitus in mechanisms of social control and agency. Post-hegemony and its related terms are influenced by Gilles Deleuze and Félix Guattari, Pierre Bourdieu and Michael Hart and Antonio Negri's accounts of the supra- and infranational forces that are said to have rendered obsolete the national popular forms of coercion and consent through which, for Antonio Gramsci, hegemony structured and constituted society. The features of post-hegemony as a concept correspond closely to those of postmodernity. Thus, post-hegemony theory argues that ideology is no longer a political driving force in mechanisms of social control, and that the modernist theory of hegemony, which depends on ideology, therefore no longer accurately reflects the social order. Some commentators also argue that history is not, as Karl Marx described it, a class struggle, but rather a struggle to produce class. The concept of post-hegemony also resonates with the work of post-Foucaultian theorists such as Giorgio Agamben. Nicholas Thoburn, drawing on Agamben's discussion on the state of exception, writes that it is perhaps with the recasting of the relationship between law and politico-military and economic crises and interventions that is instituted in the state of exception that the time of hegemony is most revealed to have passed. Criticism. Among the criticisms of the theory of post-hegemony is Richard Johnson's, that it involves a marked reduction of social complexity. Johnson concedes that one considerable achievement of the post-hegemony project is to draw many observable post-9/11 features into a single, imaginative picture, while also synthesizing different currents in contemporary social theory. But he argues that it is strange, however, that the result is viewed as the end of hegemony rather than as a new hegemonic moment. Quote, he therefore calls for a rejuvenation of the concept of hegemony, rather than its abandonment. Bibliography. Beasley Murray, John, on Post-Hegemony. Bulletin of Latin American Research 22.1, 117-125. DOI 10.1111 1470-9856.0067. Beasley Murray, John. Post-hegemony, Political Theory in Latin America. Minneapolis, Minnesota, University of Minnesota Press. ISBN 978-08166-47149. Hart, Michael, Negri, Antonio. Empire. Cambridge, Massachusetts. Harvard University Press. ISBN 978-0-674-25121-2. Hart, Michael, Negri, Antonio. Multitude, War and Democracy in the Age of Empire. London. Hamish Hamilton. ISBN 978-0-241-14240. Johnson, Richard. Post-hegemony. I Don't Think So. Theory, Culture and Society 24.3, 95-110. Lash, Scott, 2007. Power After Hegemony, Cultural Studies in Mutation. Theory, Culture and Society, 2455-78. Moreira, Alberto. The Exhaustion of Difference, The Politics of Latin American Cultural Studies. Durham, North Carolina, Duke University Press. ISBN 0822327260. Thoburn, Nicholas. Patterns of Production, Cultural Studies After Hegemony. Theory, Culture and Society 24.3, 79-94. Williams, Gareth. The Other Side of the Popular Neoliberalism and Subalternity in Latin America. Durham, North Carolina and London, Duke University Press. ISBN 978-08223-29251. Eudes, George. Civil Society, Consumption and Governmentality in an Age of Global Restructuring. An Introduction. Social Text 1-25. ISSN 01642472. JSDOR 466672.